Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the show, in case you didn't know, where we talk about the things that we love, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, all that good stuff. Joining me in the studio today, we got our technical director, Jonathan Voico.
Hey, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett.
How's it going?
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is the most important. That's when we take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or a question you'd like us to address, go ahead and fire it on into our super chats in the live chat. Now, that means you got to be watching the show live to be able to do that. But go ahead and fire one in there. And as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, we'll answer your question in the second part of the show. All right, guys. With all that down, let's start off things with this, shall we? You know, we all love those stories. Stories like Kevin Smith, taking out several credit cards and maxing them out so he could make his movies. We love the stories like the one that's in theaters this weekend, Iron Lung, where a guy finances his own film. And we love hearing success stories like that. Like I always love it hearing about creative people who bet on themselves. That's great. But we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that betting incurs risk. And more times than not, if we're being honest, the risk does not turn out well. For example, let's even take somebody who's well-founded in the Hollywood system, actress Jennifer Esposito, who is a longtime member of the Blue Bloods cast. She had a recurring character in The Boys. She's been in a lot of stuff, going all the way back a couple of decades. Well, she decided to take a mortgage out on her house to fund her own film. A film that got great reviews, 93% critic rating, won some film festivals, but now it's ended up costing her house, and she's losing her home. This comes to us from the folks at Coming Soon. Right, The Boys star loses home. She mortgaged to fund the film with 93% Rotten Tomato score. Jennifer Esposito, the renowned leading lady from the 90s who has continued to work in the industry, revealed that she was being forced to give up her home following a financial setback tied to mortgage issues. She mortgaged her home to finance her 2023 film Fresh Kills. She took to Instagram to reveal the challenge. Jennifer Esposito, whose credits include acclaimed works like Crash, Taxi, Summer of Sam, and the Prime Video series The Boys, revealed her personal financial struggle in a video on Instagram. She revealed that she was being forced to give up her home due to mortgage issues. She mortgaged her home to finance her critically acclaimed directorial feature, Fresh Kills, which holds a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I'm looking like right now because I've been crying because I'm moving out of my home that I mortgaged to make my film, a tearful Esposito said on the video she posted. Despite the critical acclaim of her film, it did not become widely popular and ended up not making its money back. Esposito voiced frustration with quote-unquote people who were in the spotlight who did not help promote her film or spread word about it. I can only guess that she's talking about the lead girl from Marty Supreme, who's got that LA show right now, and she's gotten some award stuff. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head right now, but she was in that, and I guess maybe didn't do anything to help promote the film.
Although she wasn't as big in 2023.
No, that's true. Like at the time, she wasn't as big. Look, this is, again, the darker side and maybe the more realistic side in the film industry of trying to get your own project going. Because at the end of the day, it is a business. And at the end of the day, you've got to make your money back. Or if you're going to talk somebody else into giving you money, you've got to convince them, you've got a plan to make their money back. I remember, I don't think I've shared this story on here before, but I remember just a couple of years ago, when I was looking at how I was going to invest my money and all that kind of stuff, one of the things I thought about was investing in film production. And I decided to set aside $100,000 and I wanted to invest in a indie film. And when I kind of put it out there. I mean, I didn't make it public knowledge. I just put it out in certain circles that, hey, I'm a potential producer looking to invest in films. And what I asked for was, give me a full rundown of what your idea is and send me your business plan that tells me how you plan in advance. I mean, obviously it might not work, but what's your plan to make your money back? What's your plan? And Rob, even at the time, like the amount, I never ended up investing in any films because almost every single, and I got dozens of pitches sent to me. All of them were basically, trust me, bro.
Yeah. You got the pitches, but not how you were going to get the money back.
No, you don't understand. Yeah. My idea is so good that I'm sure Disney's going to come along. Well, no, crossing your fingers isn't a business plan. What's your plan? And a lot of them don't have it. And the reality is that for every one Kevin Smith, for every one Markiplier, there's 300 people who maxed out credit cards, did everything they could do, took a risk on themselves. And I'm not trying to discourage that. I'm not. I'm just saying you got to be realistic, because even if you're somebody in Hollywood who has a career, who has been in award-winning movies and TV shows and stuff like that, it may not work out because at the end of the day, your movie still has to make money. And I think this is a good reminder for all of us.
You're also having to deal with other people to make, you're not alone. You're not an island. And sometimes those people can screw you over. Sometimes those people feel you might have a great plan and then someone else is looking like a shark. Well, I got a shark on my shirt. That was not intended. But, and they screw you over, or they have a bad plan, or they take a bad loan out, and then you're stuck, you know, with your finger in the dam. So,
yeah, again, it's a good reminder for everybody. Because again, I don't want to discourage betting on yourself. I don't want to discourage taking risks. But you need to make educated risks, and understanding the reality of the scenario is an important thing. Anyway, Rob, I mean, as somebody who has lived in this town and worked in this industry, and you've got a lot of people you know who are filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers, how close to home does a story like this ring for you?
A little too close, right?
Way too close to home right now, especially with our mortgage situation. And I'll tell you, here's a quick story. So, you know, I produced and edited a film called Tango Shalom. All independently done, blessed by the Pope for its message of interfaith dialogue. Pope Francis blessed the movie in the pages of the Vatican newspaper. That's true, by the way. So we had a big deal with Germany, opening in 50 cities across Germany, and a great TV deal. Would have paid back the investors. The movie would have been whole, all great. Well, it opened on October 5th, 2023. October 7th happened. Israel was invaded. What happened there happened. And on October 8th, there were marches in the streets. And how do you think a Jewish-themed film fared in Germany when you had protesters and a national police force? The movie got pulled from theaters, and we lost our German TV deal.
So even when things do start to line up, they can go south.
They can go south. And then it's getting money on there you go. Now it's called, we had to change the name. Now it's called Forbidden Tango.
Ooh.
Because I mean,
which is too bad, because Tango Shalom was
it's so much better.
Well, we're gonna put it back.
Forbidden Tango sounds like a Skinamax.
I know, although it's doing well in Latin America. But the important thing is the problem now with independent cinema, as any independent filmmaker will tell you, is how do you get your money back? And there's no guarantee, like you said, John. Even with the business plan, if you don't go into production with an idea of how you're going to get distribution, you shouldn't do it. Now, I'm not trying to discourage people. It's a lot harder to get distribution now. And even if you do get distribution, it's impossible to get money from your distributor. It's a fool's errand. But Markiplier, he's going to make, he made in one weekend $11 million on his own investment.
But
I'm going tonight because
it's just
my kids want to see
important
it.
that in the backdrop of stories like that, and Kevin Smith and others, to remember for every one of those. There's 100.
Yeah, Markiplier has his YouTube channel is 30.
Yeah, he had something that a lot of independent filmmakers don't have, which is a pre-existing audience.
And I as much as I did not like the movie Iron Lung, I'll tell you, I was full of an audience. I was in an audience full of people who did, and now it's a big triumph for him. And I'm like, you go, Markiplier. You well done.
Look at Francis Ford Coppola. Talk about name recognition.
Yeah.
And
look what happened with I can't
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
Yeah.
But that, maybe 120 million.
Well, yeah, that's we're talking about scale here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is somebody who put out a mortgage on their house, so maybe you're talking $300,000, $400,000, and again, and once again, let me just reiterate: I'm not talking about this story in any way to try to discourage people from pursuing their dreams or taking risks and betting on themselves. Just be wide-eyed when you do it.
You should never mortgage your home.
Yeah,
Never.
don't think, it worked for that guy, so it can work for all of us.
You don't want to take the floor from up under your feet.
Yeah.
No way.
You just got to be careful with it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? It can be a precarious business trying to get a movie made. Whatever you think about this, jump down the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Monarch Season 1 came out, and I was looking forward to it, but it exceeded my expectations. I loved the series. I really did. Did it have a couple of question marks? Yeah, it did. But overall, I had an absolute blast with it. And the ending of it was great because there was some whispers that it might just be a one season and done. But then the finale came and clearly they planned for season 2. Took us a little while to get it, but season 2 is coming and they've just dropped their first full-fledged trailer for it. Now, we in these circles can be guilty sometimes, those who make shows like this and watch shows like this, of maybe over-exaggerating things. And maybe we often say too often, man, that television thing looks cinematic. This looked like they were advertising a new movie.
Yeah, I know.
Like this looked cinematic. And what I love about it is the scale. They're not shying away from these great human characters. Often with these monster movies, we're like, stay away from the human characters. But they have awesome human characters. So they didn't shy away from them. And they lead a little bit more into Godzilla, Kong, the new monster that has the same eyes as the mummy from the Tom Cruise mummy. A dual pupil thing. Kind of saw that coming. So overall, I think this trailer looks great. And I'm extremely excited to watch it. I do have a couple of little concerns, though. One of the great things they did in Monarch Season 1 was in the marketing for it, they let us know exactly what the series was. This wasn't a series about the monsters. It was about Monarch, and it was about the characters, and it was about these people, and all the trailers really focused on the characters. And so there was no misleading anybody when the series started. That's exactly what it was. My concern about this trailer might be they are over-promising monsters. Because Godzilla, Kong, this new monster, other little critters and stuff like that, they made up half the trailer. And maybe at best 10% of Monarch Season 1 had monster action in it, which is exactly what they promised and exactly what they delivered. So I'm a little bit worried that this time around, they might be over-promising monster action when really all the monster stuff we saw in it might be in the final 2 episodes. Don't know for sure, but whatever. My second concern about it is in Godzilla X Kong, the last Godzilla Kong movie, Godzilla and Kong had to team up to fight the bigger threat.
Mm-hmm.
In Godzilla X Kong Supernova, it appears Godzilla and Kong are going to have to team up to fight a bigger threat.
And it seems like that was the first time
Space
doing
Godzilla.
And now, in Monarch Season 2, it looks like Godzilla and Kong are going to have to team up to fight the bigger threat. It's feeling a little repetitive at this point. Are we going to go through the same thing every time where it's like Godzilla and Kong get in the same vicinity and they're like, oh, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. No, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. But first, lucky for you, we got to go take out this other guy first. Like, are we going to go through that song and dance every single time? Again, I'm not saying it's going to be a problem. I'm just saying that's the part that worries me a little bit because it seems like we're doing the same pattern here. But again, I think the trailer looks great. I love Season 1. I cannot wait to see Season 2. Rob, you saw the trailer for Monarch Season 2. What did you think of it?
Okay, as a lifelong kaiju fan, I was watching this trailer I was salivating, but then they did something in this trailer that I literally jumped. I scared my dogs. I jumped out of the couch. And when they showed a portal opening, and it's like and they made it a point to show Legendary, Legendary presents a portal to an alien world. Apparently, do you know what that means? They can finally. They are leading up to a Pacific Rim crossover.
Did they mean portal to an alien world?
I don't care. In my mind, it was
because the other world.
I'm like, yes, because everyone knows that one of the greatest movies ever made in the history of cinema is Pacific Rim. And the only shortcomings of Pacific Rim were it wasn't longer. And you didn't get to see the Chinese triplets really wreck shop the way they should have. But that movie, I don't care what anyone says, that movie is the greatest thing ever. And the only way they could make it better, I mean, the sequel is not. But if they can finally tie in Pacific Rim directly to Godzilla, then my life will be complete, John. I don't have to do anything anymore.
You know that's not happening.
I think it could happen. I think that's where it's got to go. Got to go. Come on, everybody. Who doesn't love Jaegers?
Well, according to the box office of the second one, there's a lot of people who don't love Jaegers.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of Godzilla movies that have underperformed as well.
I know. I'm just saying. I mean, like, when did Pacific Rim come out?
2010?
I mean, so we're talking like 15 years ago, and nobody went to go see the sequel. And I just listen. I love the first Pacific Rim as much as anybody, but I don't think the demand is there to cross over Godzilla and Kong with Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
that
there is.
Maybe you and
the
some other
world
people
is waiting, John. The world is waiting, and I'll tell you. Do you know if I'm feeling bad, the quickest pick me up I know is putting the Pacific. It's putting Pacific Rim in 4K on and turning up the sound as loud as I can get it.
Now, you know what I could see them doing? I could see them like mimicking Pacific Rim a little bit, where at some point in this Monarch universe, humans decide we've got to build our own mechs, but it's not necessarily Pacific Rim. Like, it's their own thing. So I could maybe see them going that direction. I just don't see them crossing over Pacific.
Because I'll tell you, other than ninjas, the best thing is Japanese robots. Whether they're super robots or mobile suits, you know how the bride said, "I need Japanese steel" in Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yep.
Well, I need Japanese robots. That's what I need. And I mean, come on, that new model of the Gundam, the new perfect grade, new RX-93 from V Gundam. Come on, man.
All right, guys. Question is for you.
Did
you have a chance to see the trailer for Monarch Season 2? If so, what did you think about it? I mean, I loved it, but there are some concerns I have. I'm still excited about seeing the series. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we thought this would be a good time for us to play a new round of a little game we call What's More Likely. The premise is simple. You write in a couple of scenarios for us, asking us which one is more likely, and then Rob and I will tell you which one is more likely. Jonathan's got a few picked out here. So, Jonathan, what do we got?
Okay, first up, Rob, what's more likely from 5-Star Gaming? Fans being disappointed in Doomsday or fans being disappointed in Secret Wars?
Should I lie? No, I won't lie. No, let me tell you something. No one is going to be disappointed in Doomsday.
I agree.
Nobody's going to be disappointed at Doomsday, so I'm going to have to say, since the question is only one or the other, they're going to be disappointed in Secret Wars because Doomsday is going to be so awesome that to top it. And look, I'll go by, people tend to prefer Infinity War over Endgame. And
I'm one of them.
By definition, I think that Secret Wars, if it's split into two movies or not, I think the very nature of the story that has to be told in Secret Wars, and if you've having recently read, the Hickman run, I'm waiting to get I haven't got my Battle World Volume 2 omnibus yet, so I'm behind on that. But I read the Secret Wars omnibus and then the Battle World Volume 1 omnibus. The story that's being told in Secret Wars is a very different story than is being told in And
for the record, we don't really know anything about what they're going to do in Secret Wars.
No, I'm just going by
what's in the comics.
I'm just going by the comics. And in the comics, there is a world that Doom has created, battle world. There's different realms, and the heroes don't know who they are, and there's all these different factions, and it's much more of a science fiction political thriller. Like, how's it gonna work? So it is inherently a much different movie than what Doomsday is going to be. So I'm going to have to say, Doomsday is going to be the movie that people aren't disappointed in, but Secret Wars will be more disappointing.
A higher chance. Yeah, look, the reality is, again, everything, I've never seen a single frame. Well, that's not exactly true, but I have not seen the movie of Doomsday. And what we know about the movie may not execute well on the screen. I mean, I've read many a great script that did not execute into a great movie. That could happen here, for all we know. But that being said, I'm going to agree with Rob. I think it's more likely, like, I don't think people are going to be disappointed in Doomsday or Secret Wars, but I think it's more likely that people will be disappointed in Secret Wars. Why? Because history has shown us it's always far more difficult to stick the landing than it is to stick the setup.
Yep.
Sticking the setup is not easy, but it's a lot easier than sticking the landing. Look at Lost. Look at, I mean, we could sit here all day and list all these things that it's like setting something up to be great, a little bit easier than actually sticking the landing. And so, Rob, because of the history in not just Marvel, but all of film, I'd say it is more likely that it will be Secret Wars that ends up disappointing people. All right, what's next?
Okay, John, over to you. What's more likely from Paul Brothers for Never? Michael or Super Mario Galaxy making more?
You know, that's actually a great question.
It's a great question.
The first Mario Brothers movie made $1.3 billion. I absolutely believe Michael will be the first biopic, musical or otherwise, to join the $1 billion club. I also don't think Mario 2 will make quite as much money as the first. So that puts them really close, like really close. So I'm just going to go by which one I think will be the better film, generate better word of mouth, and maybe generate more repeat viewing. I'm going to go with Michael. I think Michael, whereas I think Mario, the new Mario movie makes 1.1. I think Michael is 1.1, 1.2. So I will say, I think it's going to be really close, but I will say it is more likely that Michael makes more money than Mario. Rob, what about you?
I think I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to go for that Price is Right showcase showdown. I'm going to bid $1 more because I think you're right. I think it's going to be comparable. And I have to tell you, Super Mario Galaxy, I don't know why, but I just feel that it's not going to have the charm I have no idea what the movie's going to be like, so that's not fair. I just don't think it's going to make as much money as Super Mario Brothers did. I just don't.
All right. What's next?
All right. Back over to you, Rob. We're going to hear from Ben Thompson. What's more likely, Alita Battle Angel getting a sequel or it never gets one?
You know, people really like that movie. I like that movie. And it has a reputation that keeps continuing on. And there's no reason why they couldn't make a sequel. I want to believe, because there's always been talk of it. And with people dragging out, I never thought Top Gun would get a sequel, and 30 years later, plus, it did. So I think there's a possibility we will get another Battle Angel Alita something. Whether it's a movie, a series, something.
You know, Rodriguez and Jimmy C, James Cameron, have said in the past that they plan on some point of doing another Alita Battle Angel movie. And listen, Alita Battle Angel didn't do that bad.
Right.
I mean, it didn't break even because it was almost a $200 million movie, but it made over $400 million at the box office. And it was partially crippled by the fact that it had a horrible first trailer. Remember that? The first trailer for it was terrible.
Yeah.
And you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Fortunately, the second and third trailers were much better, but I think they already lost a lot of people. So there could be some financial incentive here. The problem, though, is I believe this is a movie that's now 7 years old. And I think every week that passes lessens and lessens the chances we get it. So I'm going to say it is more likely, not impossible. I think there's a chance, but I'm going to say it's more likely that it doesn't get a sequel at this point. All right. What's next?
We're going to go over to you, John, now with Thomas Edwards. What's more likely, Feige stays on after Secret Wars or he leaves?
I've always thought, at least for the last 3 or 4 years, that Kevin Feige is starting to plan his exit strategy. For the only reason being that he is a creative force, and creative people need to move on to next challenges. They need new mountains to climb at some point. And he's been stuck in this one job. Stuck. That's a bad, but he has been stagnant in this one job for many years now.
And remember, he goes back into the Fox X-Men and the Spider-Man, so he's been producing these movies now for 26 years.
In basically the same sandbox for this long. And I've been saying for a while, I think he's starting to plan his exit strategy. I'm going to say this. I think it's more likely he leaves after Secret Wars. Now, there was a article in Deadline talking about the new leadership change at Disney and saying, well, what's going to happen with all these other leaders, including Kevin Feige? And, the Deadline writer wrote, it's unlikely that Kevin Feige's likely to leave anytime soon. Well, even if they're right about that, Secret Wars takes us into 2028.
And if it's broken into 2 movies.
Yeah, and I honestly think Secret Wars, wrapping that up, ending on a high note, getting everything set for the X-Men saga, because by that point, he's going to have all the roadmaps all laid out, all the plans made for the X-Men stuff, probably already have the director selected, probably already have his successor selected. I'm going to say it is more likely that this is now the exit. I mean, I've been saying for years that I think he's starting to plan it, but I've never really had a direct idea about when. I think it's going to be after Secret Wars. Again, not based on any inside information. This is just me as a fan speculating, but I think it's going to be after Secret Wars and he gets everything set up for X-Men. Rob, what about you?
I tend to agree with you. I mean, I think, look, the only thing, because after you do Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, I don't understand. Those are the biggest movies, biggest fantasy films. I mean, those could be the ultimate triumph of anyone. I will say this, though, and so I do think he's going to leave. I do. But I also think he would love to stick around and model the X-Men universe, because the Fox X-Men, the movies were kind of all over the place. There were good movies and bad movies. Like the Wolverine saga did not begin. X-Men Origins Wolverine was not great. And I think he wants to create an X-Men universe that is all great. I could see that from a creative standpoint, because he probably was there seeing these different movies. But on the other hand, that would have to be a personal thing for him to make sure that the X-Men universe is great. And there's a lot of places that they never went that he probably would want to go to. But if they don't do that, why stay? I mean, you would have spent almost 30 years working on Marvel movies.
When there are going to be opportunities for him to go and actually be a studio head somewhere.
Yeah,
he's going to get multiple offers to be a legit studio head
and
somewhere.
Go make other movies. Like maybe he wants to go run a mini major or something and make some smaller films, branch out a bit. I'm sure anybody who works in Hollywood has passion projects they've come across that they haven't been able to make. And he would be in a position, he'd have more power than just about anybody. He's the most successful movie producer in the history of Hollywood.
I see a bunch of people in the live chat buying, like, so sweet, so adorable, saying, no, Kevin Feige said he's staying. Okay, I know not everybody watches this show as a sports fan. Like, I know that. But you don't say when you're leaving.
Right.
Nobody does. Every professional athlete, are you going to stay on with the team? Oh, it's my plan to retire with this team, and then 3 weeks later make a trade demand.
James Harden with the Clippers.
Yeah, James Harden. Yeah, literally just a few weeks ago, Harden saying, "No, I love being a Clipper." Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he was pushing to get traded, and now he's gone. Exactly. Coach is saying, I'm going to stay as long as they'll have me, and then 3 weeks later, leave their college team to go to the NFL. I mean, yeah, I think it's adorable if you think Kevin Feige's saying, "Oh, no, I'm saying," what do you think he's going to say right now? You think he's going to say, "Yeah, guys"? You think he's going to cause panic and drama and everything by saying, "Yeah, after Endgame or after Secret Wars, I'm out"? You think he's going to do that right now? And again, he might stay. I'm not. I don't have any insider information. I think it's completely adorable that these sweet little angels
that would cause a panic.
Believe, well, Kevin Feige said. Well, then that means anything.
I mean, how much, especially with the amount of money that they're all in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a more. I don't think it's a risk, but Secret Wars, how much is that movie going to cost?
And again, I just think if you have any kind of a career and you're in a career that has a career path and stuff like that. Again, Kevin Feige is going to get offered full studio headship somewhere, whether it's to run Universal, whether it's to run Warner Brothers, whether it's to run, there are going to be openings and there are going to be opportunities for Kevin Feige, who has been in the same job for that long, to take the next step, the only next logical step in his career, which is to be a full studio head somewhere. He's going to get offers. And again, he could stay. Re-emphasizing for the third time, I have no inside information that he is leaving after that, but you asked me the question. I think Secret Wars is his exit point. Because, guys, listen, there's always going to be the next thing. Oh, you can't leave now because you got to do Secret Wars. Okay. Well, now he can't leave now because he got X-Men coming. Okay. Well, now he can't leave because we got Age of Apocalypse coming. Okay. Well, now he can't, because there's always going to be the next thing that's 3 or 4 years down the line that he puts in place. But at some point, he's going to take the exit ramp. I think it's after Secret Wars.
I think, to be honest, I think he's going to end up running Paramount.
You know what? I think Paramount or Warner. I think if Netflix gets Warner Brothers and Zaslav stays on for a year to keep everything stable and then leaves, I think you're right. I think Paramount becomes a prime thing they offer him. I think Warner Brothers becomes a prime thing. Listen, I think Universal's in play. I really do.
Are you talking about president of studio? What are we talking
CEO.
About? You're talking about CEO.
In terms of, and he's going to oversee production of the Paramount Motion Picture.
Because remember, David Ellison offered the co-CEO job to David Zaslav if he would bring Warner Brothers over. So again, we're still 2 years away from this. So anyway.
I just want to see him go to Paramount because you know what he would do?
Star Trek.
He would fix Star Trek.
He would absolutely dive right into Star Trek.
He would fix Star Trek. Yep. Kevin Feige's next job is to fix Star Trek. Please, Kevin, for me.
All right. What's next?
He's getting right on it, Rob.
Thanks, Kevin.
Unijack Black's getting right on it here with you, Rob. What's more likely, the Odyssey or Dune 3 having a higher Rotten Tomatoes score? Odyssey or Dune 3?
You know what? I'm going to go with Dune 3 having the higher Rotten Tomatoes score, only because we know kind of what we're getting. I think the filmmakers know the responsibility and where they were supposed to go. And I think the Odyssey is an unknown quantity. And there are people, I just think that the Odyssey, I am not convinced that the Odyssey is going to work as well as everybody else seems to think. Then again, I felt that way about Dunkirk. To me, this is like a Dunkirk situation where I figured even Warner Brothers, they're like, okay, we'll let you. They reluctantly allowed him to make Dunkirk. And it made $500 million. And Dunkirk was awesome.
Well, did you see that 5 or 10 minute clip of Odyssey when it ran on IMAX?
No.
I did. And it went like that. I was hooked. So just that, I'm like, I want to see more.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think it's, because you've got centaurs or a cyclops and you've got, are the gods in this movie? Like, what is it? But I'm just going to say, whereas Dune 3, I think might have a higher score.
All right. I am going to agree with you. I think Dune 3 gets the higher critic score. Now, let's go back to Christopher Nolan's last film, Oppenheimer. Want to talk about neck and neck? Oppenheimer has a 93% critic score. Dune 2 has a 92% critic score.
Ooh.
It's basically like one reviewer out of 500 makes the difference.
Another showcase showdown.
But I just think that Dune has it. It's in its groove now. And while I think Oppenheimer is going to work absolutely because it's Christopher Nolan. Odyssey, sorry. That they both start with O. And they're both single word titles. But I think Odyssey is absolutely going to work because Christopher Nolan has yet to do anything that didn't work. He's going to make it work.
Yeah.
But I do think by a fraction of 3 or 4%, I think Dune 3 will be the higher critic rated movie by that much.
Yeah.
Just by that much.
The thing is, I think of all the movies Christopher Nolan has made, I think the Odyssey is his biggest risk because he's going in making a sword and sandal historical mythological epic. So he's really moving out of the comfort zone that he's been in. Like you said, he's never really missed. Even if you go back and you watch his first movie, Following, which is, low, but that movie's great.
I haven't disliked a single one of his movies.
No.
Now, I'll say that Dune redoing Dune is a massive risk, but he's done 1 and 2 now. So he's in that groove. I think it's going to deliver. Look, bottom line is these are both going to be awesome. They're both going to be awesome, but I do think Dune 3, I think you and I both agree, Dune 3 will just edge it out by a little bit. All right. What's next?
We got our final one here, John. This is going to be for you. Porter Clancy says, surprise Spider-Man trailer this Sunday, or surprise Supergirl trailer this Sunday.
And you know what?
We haven't talked a lot of DC.
I think the possibility for both of those are strong. But I'm going to say it's more likely, not a guarantee, but more likely that we get a surprise Spider-Man trailer that drops online during the Super Bowl, not airs on the Super Bowl, because we already know it's not airing with the Super Bowl. I think it's more likely that we get that. And there's 2 reasons for it. One, Marvel has historically been more of a lover of the Super Bowl and dropping things around Super Bowl. But 2 is this. Including its first little teaser, Supergirl's had 2 trailers. It had that first little teaser, and then it had the one that gave us our better look at Lobo. It's really not in a position where it needs to have another trailer come out right now. Whereas Spider-Man, we're about 5.5 months away from that movie coming out. It's time to start the marketing campaign on Spider-Man. It's time. I think we're in that window now. 5 months out. It's a good time to start it. And we haven't had one yet. And so I'm going to say, while it's very well possible we don't get either, I'm going to say it's more likely we get a surprise Spider-Man trailer drop. Rob, what do you think?
I agree. I agree with you. I think in Marvel, look, I think there's a possibility we might get a surprise Doomsday trailer too.
I wouldn't count that out.
Yeah, because we got those 4. I mean, it's so weird. We got the 4 teasers that no one had ever really done before. Marvel did not say a word. They didn't say a word. They released them, but you didn't have anybody at Marvel. There's no article about, well, Marvel's come out and said, look at how we did these trailers. They haven't said anything. They haven't said, and it wouldn't surprise me because it's kind of the mystique about what they're doing. And it wouldn't surprise me, although I would expect they would leak the trailer before that. But I will say this, John, do you know what I'm most excited to see? And I sent you the clips. Why? I can't wait to see whatever Ben Affleck and the team have cooked up with that Duncan.
Oh, the Duncan thing?
That Duncan video. Those lead-up videos are the best.
Listen, we all, of course, on our show, we talk about the movie trailers that drop at Super Bowl. I'm just a huge fan of the commercials, period, that drop at Super Bowl. Some of them are always so good, but all right. Guys, that will wrap up today's session of What's More Likely. Thank you to all you guys who sent in those scenarios. Keep your eyes open on the YouTube channel for when we put out calls for submission for What's More Likely, and maybe you'll see your next set of scenarios on our next round. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. I told you. From the moment they announced that Devil Wears Prada 2 was going to be coming out, and I said, don't sleep on this film. It's going to be a major hit. To which I got inundated with, you're a fool, 200 million at most, maybe 150 million this movie makes, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody remembers Devil Wears Prada. And I'm like, guys, I don't know if you don't have wives, or you don't pay attention to your wives, or they hide it from you, or whatever. I am telling you, Devil Wears Prada is going to be a huge hit. Then the teaser drops in 2025, late 2025. The teaser for Devil Wears Prada 2 drops. Becomes the #1 trailer drop of the year. Nothing else, not Avatar, not all the other films that came out. The teaser was the #1 trailer of 2025. Now, we've known a full trailer is coming. And I've said, it's going to be the second trailer, so I don't think it'll be quite as big as the teaser. I said, guys, trailer dropped, and I said, don't sleep on, you still sleeping on Devil Wears Prada 2. Well, guess what? The numbers for the second trailer were bigger than even I thought they would be. As it is being reported, Anne Hathaway's highly anticipated 2026 movie, Devil Wears Prada 2, sets groundbreaking record for most viewed trailer of all time for Fox Studios. Think about that. Fox Studio, the studio that put out the Avatar films, the studio that put out the Alien films, the studio that put out like all the history of it. This is the highest viewed trailer in the history of that studio. And It's joined now the top 10 all time of any movie ever. The folks at Screen Rant write this. The trailer for Anne Hathaway's upcoming The Devil Wears Prada 2 just set a jaw-dropping record for the studio. It's been 20 years since the first Devil Wears Prada movie was released in theaters, and Hathaway, Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci are returning for the highly anticipated sequel. In a stunning update on X, 20th Century Studios just revealed that the brand new trailer for The Devil Wears Prada 2 notched 222 million views in the first 24 hours, which makes it the most viewed trailer in the history of the studio. This was their post. 222 million trailer views in 24 hours. Groundbreaking, literally. Thank you for making The Devil Wears Prada 2 the most viewed 20th Century Studio trailer of all time. All right. So that's the biggest that the studio's ever done.
Star Wars. More than Star Wars, dude.
Yeah, that was before we had views on YouTube for Star Wars. But let's go outside the box. Let's put this in terms of like overall. Take a look at this. So like obviously the most viewed trailer of all time in the first 24 hours, Deadpool and Wolverine, 365 million, right? This is the top 10. And as we go down the list, Avengers Endgame, the teaser, the official Superman, Avengers, Lion King, and there we are at the number 8 spot all time. Devil Wears Prada 2 with 222 million. Only just 2.6 million behind the Lion King teaser, beating out the Thor Love and Thunder. Now, look at all these films. These are all big pop culture films.
Mm-hmm. They're also dude films.
Yeah. All the way down to like even It.
Yeah.
And
then Devil Wears Prada 2, 222 million. Now look, does being on the top 10 list all time automatically mean billion-dollar film? Obviously not. Obviously not. Most of the films on this list are, but not all of them are, so obviously not. But if this isn't going to wake you up now from sleeping on Devil Wears Prada 2, I don't know what will.
It's a girls' movie.
And guess what? They are going to be turning out in droves. In droves. They're going to turn out to this movie. Again, I'm not saying billion-dollar film, but if you don't think this movie's going to crack $500 million, I don't know what to tell you at this point. I really don't. This movie is going to be massive. It's going to be a huge hit. And all those people who swore to me up and down when I first said it and say, this is going to make 150 million, 200 million tops. Okay. You just continue to think that. This movie is going to be massive. Rob, I expected the official trailer to be big. I did not think it would be as big as the teaser. This exceeded my expectations. Biggest trailer drop ever for a historical studio like 20th Century, and it hits now the top 10 of the all-time most viewed trailers in history. What's your takeaway from this?
Well, I gotta once again bring up one of the coolest people in Hollywood, 20th Century Studios president, Mr. Steve Asbell, who I like to call the quiet king of franchises. But that's because he keeps giving us Planet of the Apes movies, Predator movies, Alien movies. Over at Hulu, he gave us a Hellraiser movie. And now he rolls in and gives us Devil Wears Prada 2. And it's not just the franchises that we like as boys. Now, one of the, call it the second coming of one of all the women in the world's favorite film, which is The Devil Wears Prada. I mean, it was smart. It's canny. And you look at the trailer, it's like no one's missed a step.
And they've barely aged.
No, man, this is the Top Gun.
Look at Stanley Tucci.
This is the Top Gun Maverick of Devil Wears Prada franchise movies. Come on now. I wouldn't, like I told you, they're going to, if she flies a jet at the beginning of the movie, then she gets told, I don't know, this film, plus I got to tell you, who doesn't, I want to see this.
I do.
Like,
I do too.
I told people I am a sucker for movies like The Holiday, which is kind of a girl's movie. I love the first Devil Wears Prada. I see this. I see the cast. I see Meryl Streep looking like Meryl Streep. She looks great. I love Anne Hathaway. I love Stanley Tucci. What is not to love about this movie?
Yeah, listen, I've always told people, I'm not the demographic for Devil Wears Prada. It's not like Devil Wears Prada is in my top 20 films of all time or anything. But I really like that film.
It's good.
It's a very solid movie. And you know what it reminds me of, Rob? Back when the first Sex and the City movie came out, I never watched the series. But I had just started dating this girl. She, like many other women, were totally into Devil Wears Prada, or totally into Sex in the City.
Yeah.
So it's opening night, and this girl went out and bought a completely new outfit, new shoes, new everything.
Manolos.
I guess that's a big thing for Sex in the City, is shoes and whatnot.
Manolo Blahniks, yeah.
So we show up to the theater, and it's all women completely decked out, completely made themselves up, all this kind of stuff. And I remember then going in the theater, and we're all sitting down. It's like 2 minutes before the movie starts. And I hear this male voice from somewhere near the back of the theater yell out, "Is there anyone else with a penis in here?" And there's like 3 of us raise our hands. I'm not saying that's what it's going to be like at the Devil Wears Prada screening. I think this, because the movie's just so very solid. And very good.
Says that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if you are a single man, I'd be going to the opening night of Devil Wears Prada and buy tickets to see 3 showings.
I'll tell you what, as a single guy going to a Devil Wears Prada screening, going to a Sex and the City screening, or going to a Jonas Brothers concert, I learned that one recently too. That's a good place to go if you're a single guy, is a Jonas Brothers concert. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Devil Wears Prada 2, it's now official. It's one of the top 10 biggest movie trailers in history. Like beating out Thor, Love and Thunder and it's now number 8 with 222 million views in the first 24 hours. Do you still think this movie isn't going to be big? Again, no one is saying $1 billion, but do you still think it's not going to make any money? Do you still think it's going to crash? Well, whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Alan Ritchson from Reacher. I don't think he's the world's greatest thespian, but he's solid. He's good. And I've really liked him in just about everything I've seen him in, including that Guy Ritchie film he just did recently with Henry Cavill, Ungentlemanly Warfare. Yeah, I liked him in that. I actually had a kick with that movie, but I love him in Reacher, all that kind of stuff. So I saw a new trailer drop for a new movie he's got coming out on Netflix. And you'll have to forgive me that when I first saw the headline War Machine trailer drops, I thought we were about to see Rhodey. I thought we were about to see some Marvel action. It's like, oh, no, that wasn't it. But rather, this military film with Alan Ritchson. And Rob, you said this to me beforehand, but I thought the same thing. As the trailer starts, I thought, oh, Alan Ritchson is the War Machine.
Yeah, Alan Ritchson is the War Machine.
So I watched this trailer, and I'm thinking, okay, he's the War Machine. And they get into the middle of the forest, and Transformers arrive. Suddenly, there's battle bots.
Suddenly, Palpatine returned.
Alien invasion is like, okay, that took a weird twist. And you know what? Do I think this is going to be an Oscar-nominated film? No, I do not. Do I think this is going to be a movie that we're talking about even a year from now? No, I don't. But am I looking forward to watching this now? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I am. I think this looks like it could be empty sugar candy, momentary enjoyment fun. I watched it and I thought, yep, sign me up. This looks pretty good to me. Again, nothing groundbreaking here. There's not going to be any awards won. But it kind of looks like fun to me. Anyway, Rob, you saw the trailer for War Machine. What did you think?
Well, you know, I'm watching this going, I'll watch, because he's doing all the hoorah. You can see he's like like he's jogging, and the other Marines are going one way, and he's going
on
the
your
other.
left.
Yeah, I'm like totally into it. And dude, I got again another squealing moment. I was sitting on my couch this morning. I'm watching this thing, and dogs are like chilled out, and I'm like, yes. I'm like, the only question I have is that alien tech?
Has to be alien.
Is it like Skynet, super sophisticated AI tech?
That's got to be alien tech.
It looks like alien tech to me, but it's, again, I would imagine that's a Japanese super robot. I'm in. Count me in. I love this stuff. This is catnip for me. I love this. I even want to get a model of this. It's cool.
It looks pretty good. I mean, the action, I often wonder in movies like this, when you have this unstoppable alien thing, like how do our heroes fight it? Like, is it just going to be basically them on the run? But whatever, you got me. Alan Ritchson going in, and I want to see him punch this thing in the face. Just like watching Jason Statham punching a shark in the face, I want to see Alan Ritchson punch an alien robot in the face.
I mean, it's just a riff on Terminator. It's just you've got a whole squad of guys. It's like it's Alien meets Terminator, Alien
and Predator,
and Predator.
It probably sees with heat signatures. So my guess is Alan Ritchson will cover himself in cold mud, and then destroy the thing with wooden traps.
I'm in.
Wooden traps.
I'm in.
Anyway, guys. Question is for you. Did you have a chance to watch the trailer for the new Alan Ritchson Netflix film, War Machine? I thought it looked surprisingly fun. Ain't gonna challenge anybody for favorite film of the year list, I don't think, but it looks serviceable. I'll check it out. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, the MCU, particularly since Endgame, is something that I love, but since Endgame, it has truly been hit and miss. Sometimes they've cracked one out of the park, like with WandaVision, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Shang-Chi. And oftentimes they take a big swing and strike out badly, like Secret Invasion and others. And one of those ones I've got to unfortunately include She-Hulk. She-Hulk was a show that I think had a lot of promise, a lot of opportunity, terrific idea. They pitched us Ally McBeal in the MCU. Perfect. That is a great idea. It was going to be a court-centric comedy. Awesome. The problem is their court-centric stuff was almost non-existent and crappy, and their humor was terrible. I've often said the biggest sin you can commit in movies is being a comedy and being not funny. That is like the most unforgivable sin in movies and television shows. And She-Hulk just missed. I'm not going to say it didn't have some upside. I liked the first episode.
I did too.
I thought the first episode just built our hopes up. First episode was solid, and then it fell apart. But in all of that, out of the many problems the show suffered, one of the problems was definitively not Tatiana Maslany, Emmy award-winning actress, good Canadian girl, Tatiana Maslany, who quite frankly was great playing the character.
Yeah.
They just wrote a terrible show. Now, there had been, you might recall, in recent months, rumors going around and whispers that Tatiana Maslany was out. She was fired as She-Hulk. To which Tatiana Maslany kind of joked about, but never said anything committing to being back. Well, now she said something else a little bit about this. This comes just from Coming Soon. Writes, what did Tatiana Maslany just say about She-Hulk? Now, Entertainment Tonight has asked Maslany if there was any truth to the story about her turning down the opportunity to reprise She-Hulk role. You'll never know, Maslany said. I don't know. Do you know? When asked if she thinks there are more She-Hulk stories to tell, Maslany said, obviously there are She-Hulk stories from the 80s all the way until now. They continue to be written, so there's a lot in the character that's very exciting. Yeah, the comics are still being made. So yeah. All right. That to me normally kind of indicates that somebody's, yeah, they're probably coming back. Now, being somebody who does what I do for a living, I will often send texts and emails or make calls to people I know in the industry to try to get some information. Because I am 3 shades below a complete nobody, 90% of those texts and emails and calls just get ignored. 5% of them says, who is this? 3% say, fuck off. And about 2%.
Those ones are usually from me, but
about 2% of the time that I'll send out an inquiry for some information, does one of these people in the industry actually get back to me? Somebody got back to me. And they said, Tatiana is absolutely coming back as She-Hulk. Now, did not say where, did not say when, did not say how. And let me throw it out there that, listen, there's always a possibility that the person informing me could be misunderstanding things. But all I can do is tell you what I have now been told. Tatiana Maslany is going to come back as She-Hulk. And listen, as somebody who really didn't like the She-Hulk show, I love it. Because put her in the hands of somebody else writing, put her in their hands of a different story group, and I think there's not many people who can do as good of a job playing Jennifer as Tatiana Maslany did. I mean, I don't care who you had playing She-Hulk in that series. That series was bad. It wasn't going to save it.
Right.
She didn't write the lines. So I love the idea of her coming back. Now, look, this has nothing to do. Remember those leaked production sketch art that we had for Secret Wars that came out ago? And we had Hulk and She-Hulk.
Like in that village?
What looked like a Hulk village sort of thing. This had nothing to do with that. So it raises the question, assuming what I have now been informed of is true, which there's a possibility it may not be, keep that in mind. Assuming that it is, the question then becomes when. And I think there are 4 possibilities. Rob, I want to pitch these possibilities to you, and then I want you to tell me which one you think is most likely. Possibility number 1. She pops up in Avengers Doomsday. To the best of my knowledge, that's not happening. But things can be added and all that kind of stuff, so you never know. So maybe making a quick little appearance somewhere in Avengers Doomsday. That's option 1. Option 2, Secret Wars. That we get her because we're expecting a lot of characters to be showing up in Secret Wars. That could seem like a logical place for her to make her reappearance as She-Hulk. Option 3, a She-Hulk season 2. Now again, as somebody who definitively did not like She-Hulk, I'd be down for season 2 with a new writer's room. And because the potential is all still there. That if they could just utilize the potential and lean into the things that are good about it and cut out the things that are mistakes, that could have some potential. Option number 4, anything else. Popping up in Daredevil season 3, popping up in a Shang-Chi 2, popping up in anything else. So our 4 possibilities here are Doomsday, Secret Wars, a She-Hulk season 2, and anything else. I'm going to lean towards Secret Wars. That's where we'll see her pop up as She-Hulk again. Although I do think anything else after Secret Wars is also a possibility, but I'm going to go with Secret Wars. Rob, assuming for a second that she is indeed coming back, what do you think is the most likely scenario that we see her return in?
Well, clearly she's on the Fantastic Four rocket, having replaced Sue Storm as a member of the Fantastic Four.
In the comics, she's often a Fantastic Four member.
That's why I said, and they followed that up in Doomsday. You'll see. But I think Secret Wars is the interesting thing about her is in the MCU she's West Coast based,
right?
And so even in the Marvel comics, they had to make a West Coast Avengers because nobody goes to the West Coast in the Marvel comic universe. Everything happens in New York. You know, the Spider-Man's in New York, Daredevil's in New York, the Avengers are in New York.
Wonder Man was in LA.
What that's it. So you've got one, and those that's the contingency that's going to save the multiverse or Battle World, because they were in California when the world ended. So by the way, I don't know that. I'm just making that up. But I think that the character, the character of She-Hulk is a great character when properly written. I think the problem with the She-Hulk show is they didn't know what they were making. Yeah. You had a writer's room and you saw those writers whenever they appeared in social media and stuff, they were completely adrift. And they didn't know, like, you had the comic book that you tried to emulate. Just read that. Go do that. And they couldn't do that. A funny legal show, especially in the Marvel universe with all the legal problems, you could sit down with the writer's room and go, okay, assuming there are superheroes in the world,
could have been so good.
What would the legal problems they would face be? And that could write itself. You'd have 30 different storylines to break, but they didn't do that. It was, let's get into her personal life and all this weird stuff. Who cares? But anyway, she was great as She-Hulk. So I think for sure, I would be willing to bet. What's the place where you go bet on pop culture, whatever? Will She-Hulk return? Where?
Polymart?
Yeah. I don't think Polymart's in the U.S. yet, though, is it?
I think it is. But
I would bet on She-Hulk being in Secret Wars. 100%. Because why not? They're gonna, you saw that production art, but also if you look at the actual comic themselves, the comic itself, and I know Marvel doesn't directly adapt things, but the Winter Soldier, the character of Bucky, as written by Ed Brubaker in the Winter Soldier storyline, they pretty much adapted that. And I would think that they're going to do kind of the same thing about why wouldn't you want a group of Hulks in this? You've got Hulk's son, Scar,
Well, John doesn't think you're going to
Oh my God. I think they're never
no,
going to bring
but
that character back.
I wouldn't be surprised though if we do see a contingent of Hulks in Secret Wars, because why not?
Man.
So I think for sure she's going to come back, and everybody's going to come back in Secret Wars. My mom called me and she goes, "What is the Secret Wars thing they want me to be in?"
I was wondering how you were going to tie that in.
Rob's mom will return
In
in
Secret
Doomsday.
Somehow,
Post-Secret
Rob's
Wars
mom
Has returned.
Post Secret Wars, I'd love to see her in a Deadpool 4.
Oh my God!
Oh, a She-Hulk, the other fourth in a fourth
Yep.
Deadpool movie.
Oh,
I'd love to see her in a Deadpool 4.
Remember now, there's not going to be a Deadpool 4.
Yet, but I'm going to call Ryan
We
after
could
this.
see Deadpool in a more of an ensemble movie. And why not make one of those characters She-Hulk?
Yeah.
I'm totally down with that.
And
Totally.
I wouldn't mind a West Coast Avengers, and she's on it with like Vision and whatever. That'd be cool.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Ryan Reynolds, did you see that he's coming out in a movie with Kenneth Branagh?
Yeah, like a buddy cop sort of thing.
I was like, how do I not know about this?
Yeah.
Bring it on.
I'm excited about that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I have been informed by somebody fairly close to the situation that Tatiana Maslany is going to come back. Maybe their information is wrong, but it seems to line up with everything that we know so far. Where do you think that could possibly happen? Do you think it might be in Doomsday? Maybe Secret Wars? Maybe a She-Hulk season 2? Or maybe something else entirely? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick second and bid good day to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We'll
Thank
talk
you,
to you
sir.
again tomorrow.
I'll be back.
And, of course, we're going to take a second and pay the bills around here and thank the sponsor of today's episode, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Well, the big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than with PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. With the football season coming to a close, this is your last chance to jump into football action before next year, and PrizePicks is making it easy by giving you $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. What I've always loved about PrizePicks is how simple it is. You're just picking more or less on player projections, building your lineup, and rooting at home while you watch the game. I also really like their early payouts feature. If a player gets off to a hot start, you can cash out before the game even ends. And with the new social feed, you can follow other players, copy lineups that you like, or use them as inspiration for your own. So don't miss out. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to the most important stuff, your comments and questions, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Okay, first up, I skipped this one yesterday by accident from Brummy Blue. So he just says, will Thor fans be happy with his portrayal in Doomsday?
I'm not going to answer that question.
And I warned him we couldn't answer, but I promised
not
I would
going to
read
answer
it.
that question, but thank you for sending it in regardless. All right, what's next?
And then let me catch up to today's stuff here. We got Keaton Habeck, who says Danny Elfman versus Michael Giacchino Batman themes.
You know, it's hard to compare because one has been around and endured for so long, Elfman's. Whereas, you know, Giacchino's one is really more recent. I mean, I would lean towards the Giacchino one, but ask me again in 5 years. All right, what's next?
All right. The JCSC says, I'm practicing reading poker faces and tells. So, Jonathan, hold the camera on John when you ask, will Wong return in Avengers Doomsday?
Well, you could do that, but I'm going to actually give you some insight here.
The camera's on him anyway.
When I play poker, when I get in a hand, I always wear, first of all, I don't wear sunglasses when I play poker. No shade on anybody who does. I just find it kind of weird. But I do wear a hat. And so whenever I'm in a hand, I'm always this. That's so you can ask. So go ahead, Jonathan. Ask me the question.
Will Wong be in Avengers Doomsday? He's
All
wearing
right, what's next?
You have an Avengers hat. Avengers will be in Avengers Doomsday.
Yes.
Christopher Brickner says, hopefully this year the Super Bowl won't be considerably less entertaining than the college football championship like it was last year.
Well, I mean, the college football game was surprisingly competitive this year. I thought Indiana was just going to run away with it, and Miami made a game out of it. So, listen. I've still got a soft spot. I'm not a big Patriots fan anymore, although I do still have a soft spot in my heart for them. And what a great story of going from a terrible team last year to now with a new coach, and suddenly they're in the Super Bowl again. I think Seattle's going to throttle them. I really do. I think this is going to be a very one-sided game. I hope I'm not, but I think it's going to be an ass whooping. I really do. Anyway, all right, what's next?
All right, Bobby Jackson says, now that Reed is in the MCU, do you think we'll find out if he replaces Shuri as the smartest character?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, like Kevin Feige himself said in an interview once, Shuri is the smartest character in the MCU, and that included when Tony Stark was still there. But she was also very young, that sort of thing. But yeah, I do think with Reed coming into the MCU, I think it will be well established that Reed Richards is the smartest person alive. At least that's my guess they're going to do. All right, what's next?
Rudger Cole says, hey, John, me again. My question for today is, have you gone to any film festivals like Sundance? If no, why? If so, how come we don't really go to them?
Yeah, I don't go to a lot of them, though. I've been to several film festivals, particularly like the big one, the Toronto International Film Festival. I've gone to that one. Never gone to Sundance. I've also never been in any of the ones that have taken place in Europe, though. Here's the thing. And it goes back to the same reason why I don't cover red carpets anymore and why I don't do celebrity interviews anymore and all that kind of stuff. It's because I remember back in the AMC days, we would send people to go cover Sundance. We would send people to go cover certain film festivals, and nobody watched those videos. We got nobody watched them. Because especially festivals like Sundance and stuff, like Toronto is a little bit different because Toronto, they play a lot of the high profile films coming. But
Right.
a lot of film festivals are film festivals where filmmakers are bringing their films there to sell them, to show them off for a film market that hopefully a distributor will see and want to pick it up and build some momentum and buzz. But we just discovered nobody watched those videos, like at all.
And no one cares that we saw the movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, cool.
And a lot of the movies that play at those festivals will never play nationwide. And so that's not me trying to belittle the importance of these film festivals, not at all. But I'm saying their relative value to a YouTube channel like mine, there is no value for a YouTube channel like mine to go and cover them. So instead of taking a week of my time, being away from my wife, spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for what? And so that's primarily why we don't cover stuff like that. All right, what's next?
I don't think we've ever really been asked this. Earthling Entertainment, what are your thoughts on the Tremors franchise? I like the first one.
You know what? I'm in the same boat. I love the first one. Didn't really care for any of the rest.
I know that Kevin Bacon remarked that one of his big regrets in the industry was that he didn't take Tremors 2. I mean, simply for the payout.
Listen, if they were to do a remake of Tremors, I'll be all about it. So I love the first movie, but I never really cared about the rest, to be honest. All right, what's next?
Jai says, yesterday said you wouldn't watch a movie knowing nothing about it.
No, I did not
we
say
didn't say that.
I said that I haven't. I didn't say I wouldn't. Anyway.
Yeah. Beforehand, but is there a movie you'd show someone else if they knew nothing? Probably movies with big twists, like Sixth Sense or something like that.
Oh, no, I definitely have.
Yeah.
I definitely have. Like, but both when I was like dating and stuff like that, I would be like, oh, you've never seen this movie or heard of this movie? Let's hang out tonight and we'll watch this. Or sometimes when Ann and I have friends over, it's like, oh, you guys have never seen this or heard of it? Let's watch this. One of the most recent ones we did that for was one of my absolute favorite comedies the last 10 years, Joyride. We had, we were having a dinner with another couple over here and it just kind of came up. I can't remember how Joyride came up. And they had mentioned they never even heard of it. We're like, well, we're canceling our plans for the rest of the evening. We're going to watch Joyride. So yeah, I definitely have done that. And it's not that I wouldn't do that with other films. It's just that I haven't. And when would I have the opportunity? I run a movie website. What am I going to do? Not watch trailers? Not read the news? I mean, I don't really have the opportunity for that. So I just never have done it, but it's not like it's a rule of mine. That's all. All right, what's next?
All right. Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw says, John, isn't it mind-boggling that Sean Penn hasn't won a single award this season? He gave the best performance this year, regardless of gender.
That's subjective.
I don't know about best performance.
I don't know about that. I mean, I do think, like, if I was an Oscar voter
in a supporting actor role, I
would be voting for Sean Penn for best supporting actor. But there were some damn good performances this year. And I, as great as I thought Sean Penn was in that role, and by the way, I don't think he was as good as Michael B. Jordan was in Sinners. I don't think he was as good as, I'm forgetting her name, the lead actress from Hamnet. I don't think he was as good as Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another. I don't think he was as good as Timothée Chalamet in Marty Supreme. But even his compatriots in the best supporting actor, that's a close race, man. It's close. Again, if I were to vote, I would vote Sean Penn. But to say that he was by far the best actor in any category in any, regardless of gender or anything, that's a legitimate opinion to have, but it is a very subjective opinion nonetheless. But I do agree he was fabulous in One Battle. I thought he was, like, seriously one of the big scene stealers in One Battle. I thought he was great. All right, what's next?
AL, which dance scene was worse, the Build Us a Mountain Tap dance in Joker 2 or Venom and Mrs. Chen dance to Time of My Life in Venom 3?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what. As much as I was kind of disappointed with Venom 3, I didn't hate that dance scene. I mean, listen, if you go back and watch my original view, I'm like, where did that come from? Like, what? And it was weird. Like, it just comes out of nowhere for, like, no reason whatsoever other than they have to say, you know, it'd be fun if Mrs. Chen and Venom had a dance number, and they just did it for no apparent reason. But, you know, in hindsight, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. So I'll say the worst one is Joker 2. All right, what's next?
Earthling Entertainment says the #1 streaming show in 2025 was Bluey.
Yeah,
I mean, it
makes sense. It's an incredibly popular children's thing, and not just with children. Like, hell, my brother-in-law, Ray, he loves Bluey. Loves Bluey. A lot of people love Bluey. I mean, it's an extremely popular children's thing. That's the thing that parents will put on the most to entertain their kids. So I'm not shocked. I'm not a big Bluey guy myself, but I love that it's enjoying all that success. All right, what's next?
Jai says, had Adam Sandler been nominated for his career best performance in Reign Over Me in 2007, he'd be nominated alongside winners Daniel Day-Lewis for lead or Javier Bardem in supporting. Unlucky timing.
Well, yeah, but he never even got a nomination.
Yeah.
And like that was the movie for me, Reign Over Me. It wasn't any of these other ones that he's done. It was Reign Over Me that made me go, holy crap, this guy has it. He has it to be a dramatic actor. He's remarkable, and I absolutely think he should have been nominated. But yeah, it would have been a very tough win. Like, those ones are written in the stars. You're not going to win, but I thought he should have at least been nominated for it. I still think it's his best performance to date. I still think it's his best. All right, what's next?
R. Lee says, love the new Michael trailer, but did Lionsgate and Universal miss the mark by not debuting it during the Super Bowl? I mean, they saved a lot of money. I know a Super Bowl ad is expensive, but it seems like a missed opportunity.
How? The thing got 116 million views in the first 24 hours.
It's out there.
And it didn't get lost in the mix with all the other big Super Bowl trailer premieres. And they didn't have to spend $4 million to play it there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I am all for playing a trailer for your film at Super Bowl. But you also have to ask the question, is this the right use of our limited marketing budget? Here, they didn't drop it at Super Bowl, and guess what? The whole world talked about the trailer without it playing at the Super Bowl. Look, I love trailers that play at the Super Bowl, but it's not a one answer solves all scenario. Mm-hmm. Like there are potential drawbacks for it. Now, number one, you never get to play the whole trailer. You play 30 seconds of the trailer, and then you put up a screen that says full trailer online now. But you run the, you run the risk of your trailer getting drowned out, not only by the other high-profile trailers that get dropped during Super Bowl, but by arguably the greatest commercials all year that get played during the Super Bowl. Those get a lot of conversation too. So yes, is it a good idea to play a trailer during Super Bowl? All other things being equal, yes. But it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not a one-answer-solves-all. There are situations there, and there are all drawbacks to it. So no, I think their marketing campaign is going just fine. I think the numbers their trailer got back that up. This is going to be a huge movie, and I don't think they dropped the ball by not playing it at the Super Bowl. All right, what's next?
Danito says, are you concerned that Doomsday might be too comic booky for the general audience? Asking because another scooper mentioned that they were worried it might be.
Well, I mean, I've always said that's always a worry going into any MCU film, is if it gets a little bit too comic booky. I think they have structured this in such a way that is going to be very accessible. I'll just leave it at that. I think it's going to be very, very accessible. All right, what's next?
Yanni says, I dreamed I saw Doomsday and it disappointed me. That's a sad one.
That reminds me, one of the funniest jokes I've heard by a stand-up comedian. Ray Romano is not necessarily one of my favorite stand-up comedians, but I remember this one comedy special he did. This was years ago. Other comedians have stole the joke since, but this was years ago. I heard Ray Romano do this joke once where it's like, he goes, has this ever happened to you? My wife last week woke up angry at me for something I did in her dream.
That's real
to
life,
which I think all of us who are husbands can relate to one degree or another.
Yeah.
So don't take it out on Doomsday that Doomsday did something to you in your dream. Just remember, it's your dream. We'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
We got Austin. Hey, John, do you think you'll ever come to Portland, Oregon for a movie meetup one more time this summer or next?
Well, we already did Portland.
I think he means like a return trip to these. I mean, you have to go to other places first.
I've got many other cities I got to do first.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, you know what? Honestly, I probably won't be doing another movie meetup in Portland, because by the time I get through doing all the places I want to do movie meetups, probably time for me to retire. So, I mean, I loved Portland. I loved it. And my wife loves Portland. I'll probably be up there for a visit again, but I'm guessing it's doubtful that I'll be doing another movie meetup there because I just got so many other cities we need to do. All right, what's next?
Superfast says, hey, John, did you see Ted Sarandos testified under oath to the Senate and said Superman underperformed? Was James Gunn lying that it was profitable?
That has got to be one of the most butt-fuck stupid takes I've heard anybody. And I know it's not you. Somebody else was writing this online. Ted Sarandos, who was not at Warner Brothers, said in a secondhand comment, he thought it didn't perform as well as the studio thought it would perform. That's literally what he said.
Yeah. And that's all, we're all aware of that.
What some hick cousin fucking morons online did is they took that, because what did Superman make? 500?
They just churned up the Snyder Bros for clicks.
Hold on a second, because I think it made like 500 million. Superman, let me pull it up here. Oh, it made 616 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Which was well profitable, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So all that means is maybe he talked to David Zaslav, who said, yeah, we thought we'd make 650. We thought we'd make 675. Whatever. But some inbred fucktoads out there took that comment from Ted Sarandos, who is not at Warner Brothers, and said, yeah, Superman didn't make as much as they thought it would, and twisted that into Ted Sarandos exposes that Superman flopped.
Yeah. And all the comments were, they should make Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill. Oh, Zack Snyder should be Brad. Oh, shut up.
I just can't believe, like, it's just straight up lying at that point. That's not remotely what he said. And I think it was stupid for anybody at Warner Brothers to think that Superman would make over $600 million. I certainly never thought it would make over $600 million with all the things stacked against it. But that is not what Ted Sarandos said. That is not remotely what Ted Sarandos said. It's a secondhand comment, and you have to be one of the fucking stupidest people in the world to buy it. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Oh, you motherfuckers.
We got Daisy May, who says, hey, guys, this may be a dumb question, but what do you think Disney would do if Doomsday doesn't reach $1 billion, like around 800K or 800 million, she means, or lower? Would it affect Marvel in the long run?
Nope. Won't affect it in the long run. Listen, if Doomsday doesn't make $1 billion, they'll be concerned, as they should be. But it doesn't really matter, because what really matters is Secret Wars. Because let's say a lot of people aren't interested in Doomsday, well, and it still makes $800 million. But let's say it makes $800 million. Okay, that's still a lot of money. It's still profitable, but the key indicator is going to be, did people like it? And then do they turn out in droves for Secret Wars? Now, the more direct question would be, let's say Doomsday and Secret Wars both underperform. Well, then they got to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of reevaluation. But again, first of all, Doomsday is definitely not, it's a pointless question at the same time, because there's no reality under the sun that Doomsday is going to make under $1 billion. But again, I think the true pertinent question, the one where the real weight lies in, is after Doomsday and the audience has taken Doomsday and they adjudicate whether they liked it or not, then how does Secret Wars do? That's really the bigger target and the bigger question. But again, there's no reality under the sun that Doomsday doesn't make $1 billion. It's just a nonsensical, even theoretical thing. It's just not going to happen. All right, what's next?
We got Link, who says, on the topic of reported Doomsday rumors, I think it's okay for your show to address it as main topics, as long as you don't confirm them to be true or false.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I agree with that. Like, if something is out there and now like multiple outlets and multiple journalists and all these people are running with it, at that point, I think I'm in a place that I can go, okay, yeah, that's true.
Well, especially when they're not like, we hear, or the rumor is, like, it's dropped from credible sources.
There are sources out there saying this is the case. We go back to yesterday's thing, right? That on the Fantastic Four ship, Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Doctor Doom were on that ship with the Fantastic Four. That was not reported as a rumor. That was reported by certain people that this is what's happening.
That was the difference.
And it got out, and then it got picked up, and it spread all over the place. At that point, I don't feel like I'm out of bounds if everybody else is doing it and everybody else is reporting it. I don't feel it's out of bounds at that point to say, okay, yeah, that one's true. Mm-hmm. And so, but I'll tell you what, there is one that I haven't seen anybody report on yet. That is the spoiler of all spoilers for Doomsday.
Oh, we gasped.
We gasped.
Yeah.
We absolutely gasped that I haven't seen anybody else online yet.
Yeah.
And if this one drops, and I think it will by somebody at some point, when that one drops, that's going to be and that's going to be one that we're definitely going to talk about. But it ain't going to come out from me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to sit back and wait for somebody else to spill it, and hopefully it never does get spilled.
I hope so too,
because it's a big one. I mean, it is a jaw-dropping in your lap kind of thing.
Yeah, this is like the sword of Damocles hanging over our heads with this one.
Yeah. But if it comes out, we'll talk about it, but hopefully it doesn't. All right, what's next?
We got Mitch. That one scene in Send Help. Oh, God, please, no.
Oh, my God.
Home Alone face. Okay, maybe multiple scenes. Good time, though. I hope it does really well.
There is a scene in Send Help. I think I might have said this on the show, where a guy sitting down the row from us was literally screaming.
Oh, jeez.
Like it... and I at least in my head, I was screaming. Won't say what it was. If you saw the movie, you know exactly the scene we're talking about. And yeah, it has something to do with the scene from the trailer where it says, hopefully I'll be a better boss than you were, except for maybe this part that she says in the trailer. Yeah. Then it's like I'm like, oh! Yeah, but woo, that was a doozy. That was a real doozy. All right, what's next?
We got just a few more here. Two-parter from Paul Dean says, "Hey, John and company, part 1 of 2. I know you didn't like the scene in Stranger Things finale with the older kids on the roof. I enjoyed the episode, and that scene hit home for me as I relate a lot to them with not seeing best friends as much as we'd like. I can't lie, that scene made me emotional. Thanks for all you guys do." You didn't like that scene?
No, I didn't. I didn't at all. And you know what? But first of all, you're absolutely right. I love the premise of gathering the characters together, and the thing that we all struggle with. Listen, I more than most people, like I uprooted my life and I moved from Canada down to LA. I mean, my family and my friends are like, believe me, if something like that's going to hit anybody, it's going to hit me. So I appreciated that, but there's a difference between the concept and then executing it well. And that was the thing. It didn't execute well. Like, yes, a scene where they're all reunited, talking about how the fact that we lose touch with people who are close to us when life takes us in different directions. Yeah, in theory, that's a good thing, but you also got to execute and you got to make it hit home. And for me, it didn't hit home. It felt hollow and kind of forced and a little cringy, to be honest. But that was just me. But did it work for you?
I like the scene. The one thing was logistics when they said, let's get together every, and in my mind, they're going to say like 6 months or year, and they go every month. I'm like, okay, guys, there's no way you're going to all get together every month in a different state. Life takes over. It's just, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you can say you're going to do that. That's great. But
once a year, maybe once every 5 years, every month, that is never going to happen. That was a small thing. All right, we got...
But again, I like season 3 overall.
Yeah.
And I certainly liked a lot about the finale. They're just, a lot of the second half of the finale didn't work for me, except for the D&D game in the basement. That, to me,
I love
nailed it. That was perfect.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some support for Dan Barker. Thank you. And he says thank you in the sticker.
Oh, thank you for that,
And then
Dan.
a $20 super chat, and this is our last one of the day. Andy TU says, Brandon Sanderson once revealed Cavill is a huge fan of the Cosmere, and has even once reached out about playing a character from the Stormlight archives, to which Sanderson joked, "You're too old," and the character is also Asian.
Yeah, well, somebody wrote in the other day, and I basically talked about the same thing, saying, Cavill is a big fan and has spoke with him online. Listen, there are a lot of characters. There are a lot of characters.
We're talking about 2 different series.
Stormlight Archive, no, that's the right one.
Oh, yeah. Because he said Cosmere, so I'm thinking...
Well, the Cosmere is the grander thing. That's
yeah.
Stormlight Archive and the Moistverse.
Yes, the Moist Division.
The Moist Division, whatever the second one is called.
One's going to be a series, one's going to be a movie.
Moist Monster. The Moist Cinematic Universe. Guys in the live chat, help me out. What's the name of the second one again? I can't remember. Casey, Legacy of Kain is the first one that like.
Although Cavill has made many moist monsters.
Yeah. I still remember watching this this one girl's social media page. Somebody sent it to me. Was after Henry Cavill put out during the pandemic that infamous video he made of him building his own gaming PC. Yeah. And like this one girl, she made a video of herself watching Henry Cavill building her own game PC. She's like, I just got pregnant. I'm like, oh my, yeah, he's done that. But again, there are many characters in the Moistverse for Henry Cavill to play. So he can pick up one of them. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Hey guys, don't forget to come back and join us again tomorrow. We'll look forward to seeing you again. We'll all be back here one more time. That includes Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, moist.